Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Hi, Rav Eli. I was so happy to hear Rebbe giving Hillel Kamiansky a well-deserved shout-out, acknowledging his commitment to living in R Yisrael while working U.S. hours. So later that day, I saw Reb Hillel, who's walking, making his way through the coffee. He's by the coffee. There he is. So Hillel told me, I asked him, did I exaggerate? He said, no. He did sleep 2.5 hours that night, and he still gets up early to come to shul, to daven, and to learn. Huh? You saw him do the daf on the plane. All the while, Daf Yomi is an integral part of his day. While we miss Hill and Sabrina in Los Angeles, we are so proud of what they have accomplished. Hill was instrumental in getting me to join MDY, and I always feel a strong connection to the Beis Medrash, seeing him there, sitting to your left, right over here. Please see the attached photo from your visit to Los Angeles 1 year ago. If my memory serves me correctly, Rav Eli requested this photo with the friends of Hillel. Once you realize that a number of us know him well. He's a true example of what makes MDY so special. Your Talmud since Subis, Daf, Ayin, Dalid, Simcha, Man, Shav Aleichem, Hillel. So who's Simcha Man? I'm just here in the picture. Which one is Simcha? The one on the right? The one on my left. The one on the left side of the picture. Okay, got it. Shkoyach.
Not you, the one next to you.
Yeah. Rav Eli, this is Shalom Friedman, 6th grade Yeshiva Torah of Adas, getting a pair of cufflinks for finishing cufflinks. That's not cufflinks. Cufflinks. Oops. Finishing Masechta Megillah with MDY. You can't imagine the impact you are having on these boys when they get a chance to finish a Masechta for the first time. Your Talmud, are you checking out? Beautiful, unbelievable. Simcha, Mazal Tov. Hi, Rav Eli. I'm sorry I missed Daf Kuf Ches in person. I'm in New York for Chasana. I heard the shout out. Oh, that's Ari. We're going to skip that one. Dear Rav Eli Shlita, this is the picture. No, because I don't do advertising and I love him very dearly, but we can't advertise a specific thing that he wants. This is the picture that I showed you in Miami. I was waiting till you get back to RBS to send you the picture because your shir is better when you are in RBS. I mean, Yeshiva Der Chaim in Borough Park, Kensington, and Rav Moshe Pluchak shir. Rav Moshe Pluchak, very, very close to him. He was older than me, but I used to stay by his house a lot for Shabbosim. He learned with my father a lot. Thank you for giving an amazing shir. I haven't missed a shir since Brachas. In parentheses, not asking to come on the cruise. Started over with a different Magid shir for the first few daf and Brachas. I think it's better if you started with straight out on Shabbos or an Erevin than to start. It's a big no-no. No, fakert. No, now I think it's fakert. Adarab, did tshuva. He saw, okay. Talmud since Brachas, Lippi Gestetna, Toronto. P.S. Waiting for a see him in Toronto. We had a see him in Toronto. And now, the Masechta is sponsored for the unity of Am Yisrael. The Paras Achoy, by the way, tremendous Mazal Tov to the one and only Rafal the barber. He got married yesterday. Yeah. If you should have seen the people's faces, they were in shock. Okay, you have to be in the know. Ahron Fraiman, it should be a zechus to Rav Eli for continuous siyadta dishmaya and teaching Torah to Klal Yisroel. Mazal Tov Ahron, Rav Eli, the entire mishpacha for the birth of Sophia Ruth. Moshe and Shani Szlafrok, in honor of the birth of our granddaughter, Tahel Oriya. Mazal Tov. Where are the Szlafroks today? Not here today. Yeah? I know, Dr. The Parnas Hayoim, Ari Rosenstein, live share, community based. I don't do this and I'm doing it for him. Because, what? Yeah, no, everything. Okay, you're right. Art of the month. Now into the zechus for an easy childbirth of his daughter. Okay, I'll read it. Ari Rosenstein, live share, community-based financial relief, pledge before tragedy strikes. It's time to end your window. Okay, fine. Beseder, doesn't mean I speak about something, doesn't mean that I advertise it. Parnas HaChodesh, anonymous for the zechus for an easy childbirth. If I advertise that, then I have to advertise the 100 other things that people ask. I can't. We don't advertise. Parents have chodesh art of the month, the zechus for an easy childbirth for his daughter and a healthy baby. Rabbi Eli, we're starting a brand new Mishnah. And the first part of it we just learned. Heichem bigdaini. A guy gives his car, his bull, to somebody to watch, and he goes and he demands it back. Omar Loi. So there's two options that he could do. Either he could lie and say that it was stolen, or he could lie and say it was lost. And there's a difference. If he says, Omar Loi Ovad, the shomer says, I don't know what you're talking about, or I do know what you're talking about, but it got lost. Mashbiachani, I want you to make a shvua, V'omar Omein, and he says Omein. As we said, you don't really have to say Omein, you can say other lashonas, I agree, whatever, in Shvuas HaBikad. And the Eidim come and say, and pay attention to this word. It says here, Sha'acholoi. He consumed it completely, it's gone. The Eidim testified that he consumed it. He had a barbecue, he devoured that animal. Mishalim Keren. All he pays is one thing, Keren. Why not Chaimesh? Rabbi Isai, why not Chaimesh? Anybody? Because he wasn't Moida. In order to pay Chaimesh, you have to admit. He didn't admit. The Eidim came and forced him into the situation. But he didn't steal it. We're not talking about it's a pikadon. So let's understand this, okay? So no questions. If a person doesn't steal something, it ends up in his possession because he's a shomer, he's watching it. So the owner actually put it in his house. And then he claims that it was stolen. He didn't steal it. He claims it was stolen. That we had a whole sugis, toy and tainas ganav. That's what the Mishnah is going to be talking about in a second. And in that case, you pay kefil. But that's a chiddush. He didn't steal it. He claimed it was stolen. And he stole it. He took it. But that's not stealing. It's a different gather. Over here, it's one step less than that. He was put in his possession and he took it. He ate it. That's not considered. Yes, it's stealing, but it's not behilchas gneva where you pay kefil. We said the nafkamina between a ganav and a gazlan. He goes at night, goes in the day. Over here, it's neither. The guy put it in his backyard. If he admitted on his own, now we have the halacha of keren v'chomish because he admitted and he pays v'asham and a carbon. Same story, different excuse. Where's my bull? Omar lo nignav, it was stolen. And the person says, okay, so I want you to make a shvua, and he says amen. And then we have witnesses that testify that he stole it. In this case, he has to pay double. He pays the principal, a fifth or 25%, and a carbon. If you want to go like Alpi Kabbalah, like Lidrash time of the Kra, you see an afkamina between somebody that says it was stolen and somebody that says it's lost. Perhaps somebody that says that it was stolen, he absolves himself of all responsibility. He says, hey, I did what I needed to do. Somebody crawled through the window in the middle of the night and stole it. I'm a big tzaddik. A guy that says that it got lost, he's saying in a way that he's a shlamazel. Like he didn't take care of it so well. In that case, you're already taking a little bit of responsibility. You have bushes, you could, you don't have to pay kefil. Maybe. But the Torah Yisrael points out a very interesting thing here. That is that when a person says avad, it was lost, and he consumed it, even if he consumed it, he's pater from kefil. But when a person says nignav, even if it's be'ain, it's still here, 100% whole. Here's the animal. But he claimed that it was stolen, he has to pay kefil. So it's mikatza lakatza. Shalom Aleichem. You're not here for a year, right? First time? Yeah, you want to mess with me, right? Second time. Oh. All right. Is he really? Wow, chashiv. Okay. Says the Gemara, Racham Shalom Aleichem. Now we have a brand new topic, brand new. And this brings us into very, very interesting sugis today. Mamish, givaldic stuff. Hagoizel asaviv. A person steals from his father. No, I want to be melamed zechus. Who steals from the father? Nobody like goes into their father's house and steals in the middle of the night. His father was getting a little older. He was put in charge of the bank accounts. And slowly, anyways, I'm going to be yarshin it, so let me take a little bit. Oh. And then the father says, wait a minute. The father wakes up. He's 98 years old, but he knows what's flying. You know those guys that go to the bank every day, twice a day? He sees what's going on there. It's starting to... The book. You remember the book? They used to come with the book and check and take out $2 every time, put in $3. There's the whole... Yeah. And he says, I swear to Tata, what are you talking about? No, and then the father dies. And then he admits afterwards, after his father died, he admits his wrongdoing. Not his father's face, of course. He admits his brothers. Not to be confused, it means the sons and the brothers of the father. In other words, this person's brothers are banav. Not the banav of the ganav, the banav of the father, meaning he has to pay his brothers. Very interesting chiddush here. If you want to be yotzei, the mitzvah of Heshivas Hagzela, to a father who's no longer alive, you give everything, even your share, you give to the brothers. Because part of what he stole actually belongs to him. Halachically, theoretically, Yerusha-wise. He's, let's say he has 2 other brothers, so a third of what he stole should be his own. No, says the Mishnah, you give everything, even his third, he gives to the brothers. What if he doesn't have enough, or he doesn't feel like losing his share? No, so Rabbi said, what's the eitzah? A guy, he wants to pay his brothers in full, even his share, but he wants to retain his share. So what does he do? I need a good eitzah. No. Borrow money and what? Pay it back. Who's borrowing? Who's paying? How? Where? So the Mishnah is going to say, so something like this. Last night after shir, so Yoshi did this after the Hebrew shir, but I was busy with Mishpacha magazine until like 2 in the morning, so I couldn't give him horror. So it's not 100%, but the idea is here. So you have a ganav and a father, a son and a father, and the son steals $150,000 from his father, and then the father goes bye-bye. So the halacha is he takes the $150,000 and he gives it to his brothers. So really the house should be pushed over now to his brothers, okay? Fine. Now what does he do? He wants to retain his own share of $50,000. He wants the brothers to have $50,000 each, not $75,000 each. He wants to divide it equally. Third, 50. So what does he do? He takes a loan before this house is pushed over. It's not good, okay? Before the house is pushed over to the brothers, he takes a loan of $50,000, and the $50,000 is secured by the house. Then he takes the house and he gives it to his brothers. So the guy that lent him the money, he wants to be repaid. So he goes to the brothers and he takes the $50,000 out of the house. So what happens is the ganav, here, let's just see what happens. The malva gives him $50,000 and he gets repaid by the brothers. So the ganav gets $50,000 in his pocket, gets to keep, and he gets repaid from the house that the ganav gave his brothers. So at the end of the day, what happens? The ganav gets $50,000. Otherwise, if he wants to be mamish, the he just gives everything to the brothers and Shalom Yisrael. New halacha, and we're going to go back to this. This also, I know people that this happened to them. One of my friends did something bad. I don't remember what he did. He made his father really upset. He got into an accident, I think. Like he destroyed his father's car without reshus. His father said, "I'm taking you out of the Yerusha." And he called up the lawyer right away. "I'm taking you out of the Yerusha." People do that. They get upset. He said, "You're not going to have any Yerusha from me. You're in koinam. It's a neder, like your mother anah for me. You're not having anah." It mays, if that father dies, Yerushena. Because in Hilchas Yerusha, you can't undo Yerusha. Yerusha is midiraisa. But what he could do is, Kuftes Amud Aleph. If the father said a lashon that the son should not benefit from him after his own death. In Meis lo Yerushenu, at the end of the day, the Yerusha does go to the son, but he shouldn't benefit from it. He should take it because he did inherit it halachically. He should give it to his brothers or to his uncles. Lechov is his uncles. Huh? I did. Which one? I said. Those are the first words I said. We'll go back to the videotape. Now if he doesn't have what to eat, slightly different from before. Rashi says Pasha doesn't have what to eat. And his father said, you can't benefit from the Yerusha, and here's a nice chunk of cash. Loiva, he could borrow money against it. And the lender comes and takes from the Yerusha. Yes, he's benefiting, but in a roundabout way. It's a little bit indirectly, and because he has nothing to eat, we allow this. Says the Gemara, Rav Yosef, afilu la'arnik shel tzedakah. What's a case of a person, he wakes up and he has no relatives. Le'oleinu, after the Shoah, after the concentration camps, the guy comes back, he comes to America, garnished, nothing. Not a father, not an uncle, not a cousin, nobody. And he remembers he stole money from his father. What does he do? Says the Mishnah, what does he do? He gives it to tzedakah. You should give it to tzedakah. I don't know if this is a Ma'aseh Shaya. You guys from England can tell me that. It just reminded me that there was in the newspaper. It said that some frum guy, he won 32 million pounds, and he decided that he wants to give almost 30 of it to tzedakah. So people started looking into his name and this based on the name, address. They started flying to England, and they had to tell them no, that was just a Purim shtick. It was no. No, never heard this Maisa. 15 years ago. I ain't shum. Says the Gemara. Omar Papa, here's the interesting thing. He's not yoitza by just making a whole. This organization is going to honor him. This big Gvir is giving back to the organization $2 million. No, you have to say the $2 million. This is what I stole from my father. Now you're not going to get any covet off of it and pretend that you're big tzaddik and giving tzedakah. You have to announce it. Says Moshe Feinstein, what if it happens? A bacher in yeshiva, let's say, damages yeshiva, breaks a door, a window, smashes something. It happens in yeshiva, vandalism, I don't know what. So says Moshe that you give it back to the yeshiva, but you're not allowed to take credit for it. You can't say, oh, you take a page out in the ad book and you do it under Shtila Hate, you give a check that nobody knows, anonymous, a real anonymous, and you move on. He talks about more like tzedakahs, like somebody steals from a pushka. This kind of idea that, when you want to give back quietly. Don't try to take credit for your gneva.
You get a tax receipt?
Tax receipt. Going back to that, I was 100% wrong. I got a number of messages. It's interesting, from two anonymouses, the real anonymouses of the shir, both of them sent me. One of them sent me during shir, one of them a little later. Just the IRS, it's funny. I laughed when I saw it, but basically, if you steal, you have to, what is it called? Declare it. You have to declare it to the IRS. IRS, I stole $1 million. Here's your share of the taxes. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Who in the right mind would do that? I mean, you're risking whatever. And the Israelis were right also. I mean, there is. Baruch Hashem, I don't have experience with it, so you can't blame me. But they're right. They are right. Huh? Al tiftach peh. What? It's like he already stole. So he stole from individuals. He's not going to steal from the government. No. He steals from individuals. From the government, he doesn't steal. He gives their shit. Like it doesn't. The whole thing doesn't make sense. Chuzadina, dina the Torah, huh? When he gets caught. Okay. That's what you're saying. It's a law to get him again. They get him again another time. Not only the gneva, but also on the tax evasion. I hear.
You can steal in his son's name.
He says you could steal in the son's name. You do, it's like a triple trick, a shtick. Not giving. Okay, fine. Yeah. Double shtick. Like mine. Right. Says the Gemara. Ask the Gemara, what's pshat that you give all the Yerusha to your brothers? Why should you give it to your brothers? Amai, nimchalei lenafshei. He's one of the inheritors. Let him forgive himself. In other words, he already inherited it. It's his. Why does he have to give it to his brothers? We just learned in Daf Gimel. Here, let me just show you the Mishnah real quickly. It says the whole thing. That what if the owner tells the Ganav, I'm moichel you on the principal, but I'm not moichel you on the 25%. I'm moichel you on both. So in that case, even if he left over a half a pruta, he doesn't have to go all the way to Madai. Remember? So the one that was robbed has the ability to be moichel. But the nekuda is, it's a very, very strong point. What happened to the mitzvah of Yosef Zechus? Okay, I'm moichel you. But the guy wasn't mekayim mitzvah of Yosef Zechus. The answer is, he got rid of the mitzvah of Yosef. Once he's moichel, there is no mitzvah of Yosef Zechus. Okay, so here also, the inheritor, he inherited $1 million. The $50,000 he inherited from his father in this case of the house. It's his. And now he doesn't have to give it back because there is no more mitzvah of Yosef Zechus. It's his already. The father was like moichel him. How? By giving it to him. It's his gift. You're right. Oh, sorry. You see, there's no chiyuv of Yosef Zechus. You can be moichel. Rabbi Yosef holds you could be moichel the ganav. Rabbi Akiva argues and you can't be moichel the ganav. Let's see the sanya of him. If we're going to see in a second, this is talking about as the Gemara is going to explain in a second. But if you don't know who to give back this gneva, so you give it to the kohen. The kohen gets it, and you bring a carbon. The principle, ha'asham lahashav ha'asham is not a carbon. Lahashav ha'asham, goya lahashav ha'asham. If you can't pay back the principle, so you give it to the kohen. What's the case you can't pay back a principle? Is there a human being, a Yisrael that doesn't have relatives? Even if he doesn't have cousins, so you go up a generation, you go up 5 generations, but you go all the way up to Avram Avinu, somewhere you're going to have a cousin, a relative. We're talking about somebody that's a convert, became a ger, and he has 0 relatives. And if a person stole from a ger and he swore to him that he didn't steal from him, and he heard that the ger, this is one of the most interesting stories in Shas. He stole from a ger and he heard that the ger died, and he's going up to Yerushalayim with doing tshuva, giving back the money to the ger. How? By giving it to the kohen and bringing a carbon. Wow! I can't believe it. I saw the ad. I saw that you had a levaya. What are you doing? Why are you alive? How did I bump into you? Unbelievable. More unbelievable. Yeah. More unbelievable than that is that the ger tells him, I'm telling you, the story goes on and has this thing. Ger says, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay me now. Pay me later. You're nebuch. Yeah. Take it for now. It's a loan. Uvameis. The story gets even more interesting, and he dies. So I'm sitting here in Beis Medrash, and I'm thinking to myself, what's the case? How did this happen? Like, you're going to Yerushalayim, the guy you thought he's dead, but he's not dead, and as soon as he tells you that you could have the money, he dies. Like, what exactly happened? I had this idea. I sent it to Yoshi. And it came out ganz fine. I think you'll appreciate it. Here we go. They're on a plane. Here, let me put on some volume. They're on a plane. Now you have to notice the eyes. I'll go back to the second. Just the eye motions of Givat. What he did here is unbelievable. Shalom Rav Mustafa, such a shgach I met you. I want to return what I stole from you. 1 second. First I want a drink. You order service with this red button? Shalom Yisrael. And the guy behind him says, what happened to my meal? Anyway, that's how what should I tell you? My mind went to a different place over here. How is it possible? Hold on a second. Look at the guy's eyes. Here. You ready? The guy on the left. Look at his eyes. Now look at the Arab in the back. He looks down. Everything's mamish. Geschmack. I like it. Okay, that's what the Gemara meant, no?
Doesn't mean it have to be that he died immediately. He died a year later also, no?
Yeah, of course. But it's much better for the story. It also doesn't say that he gave it to him Balva. He gave him Balva. Anyway. And also, by the way, most airplanes don't have that red button. I'm just saying, if you have like...
Maybe this is a parachute.
Now, from now on, every time I hear, these people, these kids, ding dong, the flight. I'm thinking to myself, oh, so we just lost another one. Okay. I told him, I said, listen, to me it makes sense that he was going to the bathroom, but he thought that the exit door was the bathroom. So he didn't like that. He wanted this bed. Okay, fine. But now the Maisa makes a lot of sense now. Again, the guy steals from a ger. He hears the ger died. And then he brings it up to Yerushalayim. He bumps into the ger. Some people say but my wife would ask, but the story never happened. Impossible. You're right. Impossible. But it's a what if situation, right? The guy's a nice guy. Said, yeah, you stole from me. I feel, you know what? You're such a tzaddik, you're trying to give back to me. Let me help you out. I know you fell in rough times. That's why you stole from me. Take it as a loan. Now, here's the very, very interesting thing. Because when a ger dies, all his belongings become hefker. So whoever's holding onto that belonging becomes his. So therefore, this bad guy that stole his money, met him on the plane, he gets to acquire that entire money. Rabbi Akiva doesn't like this. Rabbi Akiva no. If you want to be Yaitza, he must get rid of it right away. He can't keep it. Says the Gemara, says Rabbi Yitzhak, tremendous chiddush, that a person can be moichel himself. The ganav, who has nobody to ask mechila from, because the ger that he stole from is dead. So he's moichel himself, so to speak. Like, he doesn't have to give it to anybody. It's in his possession. So, in other words, we have the Mishnah that says that a person could be moichel a ganav, and we have our Mishnah that you cannot be moichel, you have to give, you can't be moichel yourself, you have to give it to your brothers. So, the Gemara says, we have a machlokes here. According to Rabbi Yitzhak, you can be moichel yourself. This Mishnah goes according to Rabbi Akiva that you can't be moichel anybody. Not even, forget yourself. For yourself, of course, you can't be moichel. You can't be moichel a ganav, somebody came over to you and stole from you. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva, who adin Rabbi Yossi is of the opinion he's so strong. Forget that the ger gave it to him as a gift now, as a loan. So why does it say a story that he gave the ger a loan? This is phenomenal. That even though it's a loan, it's not a gneva anymore. He flipped it from a gneva into a loan. The ganav has no way out of this. He cannot hold on to it, even though it's a loan now. Why? Because it started off as a gneva. You have to do tshuva. This is just my thing. Don't worry about it. Atamocheli, yes. This is a simple case where a guy asks somebody for mechila. He has the right to be moichel him. Says the Gemara. That's the Mishnah Daf Kuf Gimel. Our Mishnah says, I want to be moichel myself. I'm a ganav. I'm being moichel myself. I'm forgiving myself. I don't have to return the gneva. What's a bigger chiddush? They could be moichel yourself. Says the Gemara. So Rav Eli should say as halacha in our Mishnah that a person can be moichel himself. And then, of course, the Mishnah Daf Kuf Gimel that you're allowed to be moichel on a random person. And the reverse is also quick. Because Rav Akiva should talk about Daf Kuf Gimel only and say that even a owner, somebody who's robbed, cannot look at a robber in his face and say, I'm moichel you. That robber must return it. That's a huge chiddush. And then from then I'll know, certainly, that our Mishnah, the case on the left, if a person cannot be moichel his friend, so certainly can't be moichel himself. Because of Rav Sheshes says Rav Sheshes, Hava ha Rabbi Yitzhak Lili. Both Mishnayos are Rabbi Yitzhak Lili. That what? A person can be moichel. What? Now it makes sense. Our Mishnah, you cannot be moichel. Why? Because he's trying to be moichel for himself. You can't be moichel yourself. But it makes a lot of sense. You can be moichel the robber. So how come if somebody stole from a ger, how come he cannot be moichel? How come he can moichel himself? Because when it came to the ger, he received it as a gift, so to speak, from the ger. The ger said, "I'm flipping it from a gneva. It's no longer gneva. Now I'm turning it into a loan. Oh, so that I could keep." Rava Amar, Hava, Rebbe Kiva. Let's do the opposite. Both of the Mishnayos are Rebbe Kiva. Kiyama Rebbe Kiva, the loy motzi machil and avshei. Rebbe Kiva only said you can't forgive yourself. And that, how come we had the case of Zaktim and Milva? Zaktim and Milva doesn't work, says Rebbe Kiva. If I flip your gneva into a loan, no good. Why no good? Because you started as a ganav. Show me that you're regretting, that you're taking charata, that you're doing tshuva, that you're giving it back. You have to give it back. You can't just say, "Oh, but he gave it to me as a loan." Too bad. Daf Yomi Amud Beis. Sponsored by Greg Haber. What? No? Oh, we need a new sponsor. That's why it's not here. Okay. Miklal, yeah, sponsored by Greg Haber. One last time.
Good sponsorship, though. The wedding is good.
For zechus of what? Oh, that we should all have Yeshua and the Chayalim should come back home and the hostages and the zechus of all of Klal Yisroel. Miklal, the Rabbi Yosef Aglili Sovar Afilu Nafshei Nami Motzi Mochel. So it comes out that Rabbi Yosef Aglili holds you can be Mochel in both cases. Ask the Gemara, very simple. Remember that pasuk. The pasuk says over here, if you can't give it back to anybody because he doesn't have a relative, give it to a kohen. What do you mean? What's the case? I stole from a ger. Okay, so I gave it to myself. Ger died, I gave it to myself. Why do I have to give it to a kohen? Omer Rav Achim Aiskinon, Kishe Gozal is Hager v'nishbaloi umeis Hager v'hoyd lachar misa. Here's a case, Rabbi Isai, very simple case. Here's a ger. Did you steal my guitar? Me, of course not, I swear. Then the ger dies, so because he's holding onto the guitar, you see it's on his back over there. So he's kohen it because he has it. And then he's hoida. Yeah, it was me. Shkoyach. So, in this case, at the time that this person admitted that he stole, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a kinyan in the Kavyachol. And Hashem gives it over to the Gehanim. And we're going to see soon, which coin do you give it to? This guitar. Who do you give it to? Do I give it to Danny Fine? Do I give it to Rabbi Schoenberg? Who? Rabbi Isai, here's a question for you, Rabbi Schoenberg and Danny Fine. Who else is here? Eitan. I saw Eitan here. Eitan's in the house. Who else? Oh, Rabbi Nachum Katz. Sitting with your grandson. He's a huge kishron. Huge. He sent you a picture at 2 in the morning. He said he had a nace that his wife was sick and she wouldn't know that he's out. He doesn't do this all the time. Yeah, he made me cry, actually. Fine, we'll talk about it a different time. So, no, he's a big buck kishron. He's a talent. So, says the Gemara that, what was I saying? Oh, question, Rabbi Schoenberg. If somebody steals from a ger b'zman hazeh, how does he do tshuva? The answer is he gives it to kohanim. Says the Netziv. Gives it to kohanim. Which kohanim? But we're going to see soon. It's only the kohanim that are in that mishmar in the Beis Hamikdash. And there's no mishmar. What do we do? It's a shayla. Boy Ravina. Gezel ha-giyoyres ma'u. You hear the Gemara shayla because it says in the pasuk ish here. V'mein lo ish. It's not highlighted. They took it out by mistake. Ish. Maybe in this case it has to be a man. The Gemara is going to say no. That what? That if somebody swore to Giyaris, what's the case? Again, what's the case? A guy goes collecting around Ramat Bet Shemesh for the Giyaris, you know? Oh, it reminds me of another Maisa. The guy looks around and he says, why is this guy so successful? I'm terrible. I go collecting and I never make any money. So he follows the guy and he hears the guy says, I'm the grandchild of the Baditcheva, this and that. Fine. Another guy says, Skala. The other guy says, I'm a ger. Gets her. So he says, you know what? These guys are all matzlich. I'm going to put it all together. He says, I'm the grandchild of the Baditcheva. I'm a ger. And again, he didn't get money. He didn't chap. Okay, fine. So this is what happened. The guy goes around collecting money for Giyaris, and he takes all the money for himself. He gives her 2%, takes 98% for himself. A ganav. And then he swears to her, no, I didn't make any money. I had no money. Mesa, she died, and then he admits to it, right? So the same thing like what happened to the ger, but it's a woman. Maybe the Torah is just speaking the language. This is how people say they use the zachar, not the nekeva. Omar le Rav Aron le Ravina. Interesting, only twice in Shas. So of course we did a search for Rav Moshe. Does it say anywhere in Shas Rav Moshe? And we found it says Omar Rav Moshe Kibel Torah, whatever. No, there is no Rav Moshe in Shas. Toshma Desani Ish Ainli Elo Ish. How do you know that when you have gets like you give it to a man? Isha Minayin. How do you know to a woman? So here's the pasuk. It says the word lahashiv and it says hamushav. It says it twice. So we already know that I give back to a woman. Okay, then so why does the Torah say dafka to a man? Ish is not referring to a male, but rather to an adult. An adult. You have to see who are his relatives. A youngster he can't have children. So Mela, you know that if this kid is a ger, he's the son of a ger, a father and a son became gerim together, and his father died, he's by himself, he's on his own. You don't have to worry about goyalim, there's no children. What? I don't know. Brothers, but no brothers, because they became gerim afterwards. He was a guy. He was a 9-year-old guy, and then his father said, "Let's become gerim." So there's no brother. I said this probably 3 days ago. But I'll say it over again. A couple comes to court, to Bezdin, not the court, to Bezdin. They want to get divorced. How old are you? 103 and 102. So what happened? He says, "What happened? We've been fighting for 80 years. We're dying to do this for 80 years. So why today?" He says, "Our kids finally died off. We're by ourselves now." It's not funny, Hashi. They died. The kids died. We don't laugh at this. It's funny because I know what you're thinking. Because people say you have to wait until they get married off, and they died off. I hear, yeah, that's why. Yeah,
I get it.
You get it. Okay. This guy has no relatives. So it says in the pasuk, you give it to the kohen. You see in this pasuk, Hashem la kohen. So the Gemara says you give it to that mishmar, meaning you divide all the kohanim. You have 1,000,000 kohanim. You divide them into 24 mishmaros. Okay, what is that? 24,000, whatever it is. No, yeah, no, whatever. 24 mishmaros divided by 1,000,000 is how much? Why does it have to be a kohen in that mishmar? So again, every week, the way it worked is every week they divide all the kohanim to 24 groups, a mishmar, and that mishmar takes over the week. And every day of the week is a different family within that mishmar. But over here, we're going to divide this money from the ger. Let's say you left $1 million, we give it to the 25,000 kohanim that are in that mishmar. Maybe you can just give it to Danny fine. So let's see this pasuk again. Check this out. The end of the pasuk says, "La kohen milvad." In addition to the person has to bring a carbon and also the money to who? La kohen. La kohen. It should all go to the kohen, the money, in addition to the carbon. So in other words, the person that is bringing the carbon, that mishmar is in charge of the karbanos of that day. Fine. This is super, super interesting. What happens if the ganav himself is a kohen? And then what? You're supposed to, if you're Yisrael, you bring it to the Beis HaMikdash and you give it to the kohanim. He is the kohen. So should he bring it to himself? Same questions we had before. It's anyways going to the family of kohanim. And look, take a look. I'm holding on to this. I'm already in possession. Yeshali, the whole thing should be mine. Vidinu. If he gets the Yisraels, he gets a piece of it. So they already discussed. Yes, if a Yisrael comes to the Beis HaMikdash with $1 million, you divide the $1 million by 25,000 people. It's not very much. Over here, you want to say they should get the entire thing because he's holding on to it. That's already a jump in the Kavachomer. You can't do that. Okay. Rebbe Nassan Omer, same idea, Beloshen Acher. So let me just say outside. If a kohen brings a carbon, is not his mishmar, right? a Yisrael brings a shlamim, a chatos. A Yisrael brings a chatos into the Beis Hamikdash, so the skin, the meat, whatever you eat from, goes to the kohen of that mishmar, the kohanim of that mishmar. But what if a kohen, Rabbi Shomber, comes into Dani Fine's mishmar? He wants to bring a carbon now, shlamim, but it's not his mishmar. Dani Fine doesn't touch his carbon because Rabbi Shomber is a kohen himself. So Rabbi Shomber gets the entire carbon for himself. What if Rabbi Shomber says, "Hey Dani, you know what? Here, take care of this. Go, take it. You're going anyways to the Beis Hamikdash. Take my carbon." Then Dani Fine gets it, not Rabbi Shomber. So says Gemara, it has to come into your possession to that mishmar. Another kohen cannot come and take it away from him. This gezel ger, this thing that you stole from a ger, actually he's holding on to it. Once it's in his possession, this kohen, certainly nobody should be able to grab it. So says the Gemara, Loi, not a good logic. That's different. Something that has no connection to. If the kohen gives his carbon to another kohen, so nobody else has a zechus in it. But over here, when it comes to the gezel ager, every kohen in the world has a little piece of it. So why in the world do you think that you're entitled to 100% of it? Every kohen has a piece of it. So the Gemara says, you're right. Since every kohen has a piece of it, let's divide it by all the kohanim. All the other kohanim should have a piece of it. You're right. You take it and you give it to all the kohanim. Question Rabbi say, what about he himself? He's also kohen. Does he get a piece? He just brought it to the Beis Hamikdash. The Gemara said maybe you should get 100% of it. Says the Gemara, no, but everybody has a little piece of it. So let's give it to everybody. What about he himself? Yes or no? Anybody? It's a yes or no question. That what?
He has to borrow from other people.
Wow, that's a chiddush. Nobody says that one. He's saying you should borrow and take. So it's a machlek zachroinim here, if he gets or not, if he gets to keep his piece. Fine. Says Gemara, Vaksiv, V'ish es kadoshav lo yiyu, that every kohen that brings a carbon, who gets the carbon, that kohen. So now, don't forget, this guy, he's bringing a asham together with what he stole from the ger. He's bringing $1 million plus a carbon. Who gets the carbon? Asham, he himself. The kohen that brings the carbon is makbid with the carbon, he gets it. So therefore, he should be entitled to everything. Why? Because it says about Vish es kadosh of loyu. So Mela, it should go together, the asham and all the money. It says in Gemara, no, this kohen happens to be, he's tame, he doesn't get the carbon. If he wasn't tame, he would get the carbon, maybe he would get the money. But since he's tame, he doesn't get carbon. It says that he has a piece of it. He says Rashi, he doesn't even have the hide. Even though a kohen that's usually tame does get a piece of the hide, not in this case. We punish him. He doesn't get anything. So okay, fine, but it's considered he doesn't get the hide. He doesn't even have the hide. Ela Asya says the Gemara, you're right. Ela Asya lakoyin is the achuza. Here's the Gzeir Shava. It says the word lakoyin by us in our pasuk, but it also says the achuza. What's the case of the achuza? Rabbi say more and more yidis and shas. A person gets a field from Yeshua ben Nun. He goes and he decides to be a big tzaddik. He donates it to the Beis Hamikdash. What's Beis Hamikdash going to do with it? They're going to sell it, try to make some profit. The halacha is that after they sell it to, let's say, some random Yisrael, when Yovel comes, that field becomes the kohanim's. But here's the kicker. Which kohanim get it? Those that are on the mishmar that day. So, and you have to wait another 50 years. Maybe your mishmar will come up. You have a 1 in 24 chance every 50 years. Don't count on it. B'kitzer, what if a kohen buys the field off the Beis Hamikdash? So that's the same svar that we're talking about now. The same logic. That what? One of the kohanim went to the Beis Hamikdash, to the Gizbar, and says, I want to buy that field. It's perfect. It's right next to mine. When Yovel comes, that field goes to all the kohanim in that mishmar. We divided in 25,000, or wherever many kohanim are in that mishmar. But he says, listen, I already farmed this field for the last 10 years. Let me just keep it. Same svar like here by the ger. I'm already holding on to the gezel ger. It should be all mine. V'dinu. If somebody else comes with a field, I get a piece of it, one of 25,000. So over here, certainly, I'm already holding on to it. It should be completely mine. And we said before, it's dayalav minadin. Okay. Tamud loimar. No, the kohen has no business taking this field. Okay, so what do we do? Therefore, when it comes to Zdei Achuzah, even though this kohen is the one that bought it from the Beis Hamikdash 10 years ago, and he's been farming it, and it's his, it looks like his, he must give it up and give it to all the kohanim. So too, by Gezel Ger, even though it's in his possession, he's the one bringing it to the Beis Hamikdash, he must give it up and give it to all the kohanim. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. I was just thinking that based on this, I'm thinking now, he gets a piece of this sada. He's not a bad guy. He gets a piece of the sada. So maybe also by Gezel Ger, he should get a piece of the Gezel Ger. It's the same we're learning in Gzeir Shava. Shir Lamalo, it's so in Lo Remind Your Voice.